Hello everyone, welcome back to ESLDRILL. I am MNB ACHARI. This is part 2 of the lesson Rendezvous with Ray. At the end of the first part, we learned that Gaston Roberge waited 9 years to meet Satyajit Ray in order to have a worthwhile conversation, a very important conversation with Satyajit Ray. And finally they met and they became friends, and their friendship continued to exist for 22 years until Ray died in 1992. Let's proceed from there. Let me read this first. It was a very quiet friendship that developed over the years. Manikda, as Ray was affectionately called by his friends, was a shy person and always very discreet about displaying his emotions, said Roberge. Though to outsiders, Ray's massive stature, physical and intellectual, might have made him come across as cold, aloof, and even intimidating. He was in reality a very simple and unassuming man with a subtle sense of humor. It was an unspoken arrangement between the two of them to meet on Sundays at 9 a.m. at Ray's residence on Bishop Lefroy Road, Kolkata. Ray would invite Roberge over for private screenings of his latest films and welcomed comments on them. But this happened only after the friendship had cemented, for in the early days of their dialogue, Ray's shyness prevented him from talking about his own films. Here, the friendship between these two was described as a quiet friendship. It means here they did not do much exciting things. They were calm and quiet. And Manikda, Ray was affectionately called Manikda. Affectionately means lovingly. So people who were close to Satyajit Ray called him Manikda. And this Manikda, Satyajit Ray, was a shy person and was very discreet about displaying his emotions. Look at this word discreet, careful. He was very careful about displaying his emotions. It means he would not show his emotions to other people. So it's a bit difficult for outsiders to guess the nature and attitude of Satyajit Ray. That is why, look at this here, to outsiders, Ray's massive stature. So look at this word massive here, very large. Ray's very large stature. Let's also look at this word stature here. Stature means a person's height or the person's importance. A person's height or a person's importance in the society. Now, if you look at these two words, intellectual and physical and intellectual. So Ray had very large stature, large importance in the society. As a famous film director. So, and he was an intellectual person as well. It means he was a creative director. He used his great intelligence to make movies, and so he had intellectual importance in the society, and physically as well. He was important because he had large stature. Height. We are referring to his height here. He was a tall person, and intellectually, as a creative director, he had such importance in the society. Now, these things made him come across as cold, aloof, and even intimidating. Look at these words, cold here. So, when we talk about a person, we use this, without emotion and unfriendly. Now, that is the reason, because of Ray's height, because of the importance that he has in the society, people, especially outsiders, thought that this man was without any emotion and aloof. Look at this here, not friendly or interested in other people. No, they thought that he was unfriendly and he was without any emotions, and that was the reason why he looked intimidating to other people. So intimidating means here frightening. Now when people, especially outsiders, looked at Satyajit Ray, they thought that this man was unfriendly and they were frightened. They were afraid to go near him. But look at this here. He was in reality totally different. Let's look at that. He was in reality a very simple and unassuming man. So unassuming means here not wanting to draw attention to yourself or to your abilities or status. Satyajit Ray never tried to draw the attention of other people to his abilities. Yes, he was such an able man, he was such a skilled man, he was such a very good director, but he did not want to talk about his abilities. He did not want other people to talk about his abilities. That's what we call unassuming. And this man was also with a subtle sense of humor. Look at this here, subtle, not very noticeable or obvious. I mean, you cannot really see the sense of humor in him. Sense of humor is the ability to create humor, fun in a serious situation. This man could do that now and then. He had a bit of sense of humor, but that could be observed or noticed only by friends. I mean, his friends are the closer ones, but outsiders might not be able to understand that he had sense of humor. And look at the next lines here. It was an unspoken arrangement between the two of them to meet on Sundays at 9 a.m. Now, they decided to meet. Actually, they did not decide. So it just happened like that. Let's look at this here. It was an unspoken arrangement between the two of them to meet on Sundays at 9 a.m. at Ray's residence on Bishop Lefroy Road, Kolkata. Now, it was an unspoken arrangement. Look at this expression, unspoken arrangement. Now, unspoken arrangement is an arrangement which is not decided by anyone. It just happens naturally. What happened was Gaston Roberge used to go and meet Satyajit Ray in his house on Bishop Lefroy Road, Kolkata, and it became a habit for him, and he continued, and it was like an arrangement which was not decided by both of them. Okay, and Ray would invite Roberge over. Look at this here, invite somebody over. So Ray would invite Roberge over for private screenings of his latest films. So what is screening? Screening is, here T is missing, the act of showing a film or a movie or television program. Now, just before or right before a movie is released, the technical team, the crew of the film, they sit together, they watch the film, and in order to finalize, if there is anything, they can make a few changes, I mean, in terms of editing or something like that. We call them screenings. Satyajit Ray would invite Roberge for private screenings of his latest films, and he also welcomed comments on them. He asked Roberge to give comments on his films. But this happened. This is very important. Look at this word, this. This happened only after the friendship had cemented. Now, let's look at this one here first. Friendship had cemented. Friendship had cemented means friendship had become stronger. Now, after the friendship between them had become stronger, this happened. What happened? Let's get back to this. Ray inviting Roberge over for private screenings of his latest films happened only after the friendship had become stronger. Why do you think Satyajit Ray did not invite him before? It was because in the early days of their dialogue, of their conversation, Ray's shyness prevented him from talking about his own films. Shyness, the feeling of being nervous or embarrassed about meeting and speaking to other people. We know that this man, Satyajit Ray, was a shy person, and that was why he did not talk about his own films, especially when he was talking to strangers. And in their early days of their friendship, their conversation, he did not do that. But once their friendship became stronger, Ray started inviting Roberge for the screenings of his latest films, and he also welcomed comments. He also asked Roberge to give comments on them. Let's move on to the next part. Let me read this. He was even shy of receiving compliments, said Roberge. To Roberge, the greatest mark of Ray's appreciation for him was that he often addressed the French-speaking priest in Bengali. In spite of my lack of elegance in that language, and the fact that Ray knew both English and Bengali so well. So wonderful lines. He was even shy of receiving compliments. Look at this here. If a person is shy of receiving compliments, he is afraid of receiving compliments, or he is not interested in receiving compliments. So we can say Satyajit Ray was not interested in receiving compliments. he was not comfortable with receiving compliments. We can say that. That is easy. But Roberge felt that what Satyajit Ray did was like a great appreciation for him. What did Satyajit Ray do, and why did Roberge feel that it was great appreciation for him? Let's see. Let's see what Satyajit Ray did. Look at this here. Here he is Satyajit Ray. He often addressed the French-speaking priest in Bengali language. Who is the French-speaking priest here? Gaston Roberge. Now, Satyajit Ray addressed Gaston Roberge in Bengali language. What is so special about this? Why is it, or how is it appreciation for Roberge? Look at this here. If you look at these three lines, you will understand. In spite of my lack of elegance in that language. So here that language refers to Bengali language. Lack of elegance. Look at this here. It's not here anyway. Lack of elegance is lack of proficiency or lack of command in that particular language. It means Gaston Roberge did not have good command over Bengali language. And the fact that Ray knew both English and Bengali so well. It means Ray knew English and Bengali languages well. And this man, Gaston Roberge, knew English well. So the common language between both of them is should be English. It means Ray should be addressing Roberge in English language, but he addressed him in Bengali language, and Roberge thought that it was the greatest mark of appreciation for him from Ray. Can you guess why and how? Why do you think that Ray's addressing Roberge in Bengali language was an appreciation for Roberge? Let me explain. Here, Gaston Roberge might have thought that Ray was treating him as one of the Bengali people, one of his own people in Bengal. And that's the greatest mark of appreciation for him. It means he was treating him not as a foreigner, but as a local man, as one of the Bengali people. What else do we need? That is the greatest mark of appreciation for Roberge. Okay, let's move on. Let's look at this paragraph now. Ray's screenplay manuscripts were an art by themselves. Roberge says, handwritten in Bengali with notes in English for his set designer with sketches here and there and occasional staff notation of fragments of music. One Sunday morning, Roberge found Ray in a disturbed mood. A few well-known personalities of the city had visited him earlier to go through some of his manuscripts. After they left, Ray found the Charulata screenplay missing. Ray was almost sure who the culprit was. I asked him whether he was planning to take any action, and he said no, and explained to me that he did not want to hurt the reputation of the person. I was absolutely stunned by his humane concern, said Roberge. Now we have a few different vocabulary here, screenplay and manuscript. Look at this screenplay here. A screenplay is the words that are written for a film or movie. Simply we call it the script of the movie. So it includes instructions for how it is to be acted and filmed. Now the instructions say how particular actor or actress or actors and actresses how to act and how it is to be, a particular scene is to be filmed, is to be shot using cameras. So all the instructions together are called screenplay. And look at this here manuscript, a very old book or document that was written by hand. So simple meaning is a document that is written by hand. Now these days we have latest technology and we have computers and we can prepare everything in computers. But those were the days when there was not much technology, and that was why most of the things were written by hand. Now those were called manuscripts. Ray prepared the screenplay, the script, film script, in his own handwriting. Now, but these manuscripts were an art by themselves. They were really wonderful. Why were they wonderful? Because Robert says this. Robert explains, handwritten in Bengali. So the manuscripts were written in Bengali language, and the manuscripts had notes in English for his set designer. You know, set designer is someone who designs and then builds a set for a particular scene in a movie. And Satyajit Ray included English notes for his set designer. And what did he write in the manuscripts for the set designer? Sketches. Yes, sketches here and there. So whenever necessary, he included some sketches so that the set designer could get some idea, and then he could build up on the idea given by the director Satyajit Ray. And not just that, these manuscripts also had occasional staff notation of fragments of music. Look at this picture here. Notation. So staff. Let's discuss all this here. Look at the word staff here. The 5 lines and 4 spaces between them on which musical notes are written. We have 5 lines here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have 4 spaces between them, and these symbols are called musical notes. By looking at these symbols, music composers try to understand what they should do, how they should create music. Now, fragments mean pieces. He would not include a complete musical track notes, but a bit here and there. That's why we have fragments, pieces of music, musical notes. One Sunday morning, Roberge found Ray in a disturbed mood. What happened? A few well-known personalities of the city, personalities means here famous people, a few famous people visited Satyajit Ray earlier, and they went through some of his manuscripts. So they went through some of his manuscripts means here they looked at some of his manuscripts. They checked some of his manuscripts. And once they left, Ray found the Charulata movie screenplay was missing. He actually prepared a movie script, Charulata, for the movie Charulata. He prepared screenplay directions, and that script was missing. Ray was almost sure, means here he knew who the culprit was. Culprit is a person who has done something wrong. Now what did the culprit do here? The culprit stole Charulata movie screenplay. Ray knew, and Roberge, look at this here, Roberge asked Ray whether he was planning to take any action, and he said no. Satyajit Ray said no, and he also said this, that he did not want to hurt the reputation of the person, that he did not want to damage the reputation of the person. Reputation means here name. Ray did not want to spoil the reputation. I was absolutely stunned. Stunned means here very shocked or surprised. I was really shocked by his humane concern. Humane concern. Humane, kind, concern means attitude. Ray had such great humane attitude, and Robert was shocked.